One reaches through a window. A huge hairy arm reaches in and reaches for an axe that was sitting by the wall.
Yikes.
Welcome to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Andy.
And I'm Felice, and we are coming to you from hot and humid Key West, Florida.
Yes. Listeners, come support us on Patreon. We have 2 membership tiers, one for $5 and one for $10. Every Patreon member gets an episode shout out and other perks.
Yeah, I'm working on some perks right now.
And we were talking about some really fun stuff, so it should be great.
Yep.
So you can check out the link in the show notes.
Or just go to Patreon and search. I think that's the easiest way. Just search You Two Scare Me podcast.
And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. We are 2 ridiculous friends who love stories of ghosts, hauntings, UFOs, cryptids, and anything weird or paranormal.
We know we don't know anything or really understand anything about what's happening with any of this spooky stuff. But we have a deep respect for the unknown and unseen forces at work around us. During our episodes, we make sure to keep it light and laugh to make sure that it doesn't get too crazy spooky.
We hope to bring you stories that make you look over your shoulder, question everything, and give you a chill.
But a quick warning before we begin. This episode is for entertainment purposes only. Our tales are drawn from folklore, history, and reported experiences, but we don't claim them as fact. Some stories may include sensitive topics, including this one, so listener discretion is advised.
Dive into the shadows with us as we bring you haunting tales in this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast.
Shall we dive in?
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
It's summer. You've been planning this camping trip for months. You've got your s'mores, your little lantern, your cute sleeping bag from Target. You know, maybe some bug spray. The campfire is going. There are a million stars overhead. It smells like pine trees and wood smoke, and everything is perfect. And then you hear something. A knock against a tree. Loud and deliberate. Oh. Twice. And then the forest goes completely silent. And then something very, very large starts walking toward your tent. It doesn't sound like a deer. That's right. In today's episode, we are fully leaning into summer, and we are going to continue building on your theme from last week, Felice, with haunted summer camps.
Okay.
But in this episode, we're not camping in sweet cabins with assorted activities. We're getting outside into nature, because today we are diving into real Bigfoot stories.
Ooh, fun. Okay.
So we've already met Skunk Ape, Florida's super smelly version of Bigfoot. But today we're focusing on the big guy, one of the most famous residents of the woods who's out there living his best life and ruining camping trips for innocent people.
Aw. He wouldn't ruin our camp. I think that would make our camping trip even better if we ran into Bigfoot.
My Bigfoot is like Harry and the Hendersons Bigfoot. That's how I like to picture it. That was one of my favorite movies.
I love that movie too.
Oh my gosh. I always thought I would see Harry out there somewhere. Mm-hmm. Today we're diving into 3 real-life witness encounters with Sasquatch. 3 separate encounters from 3 different locations and normal people who were just outside, camping, or enjoying the outdoors. Mm-hmm. But then their whole world was rearranged. Let's get to know Bigfoot a little better first. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is a name that comes from the Halkomelem word Saskets.
Ooh,
so it's from indigenous people.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Indigenous people of the Pacific Northwest have stories about these creatures going back centuries.
I didn't know that it had an indigenous origin. That's fascinating.
Yes. So when people describe Bigfoot, a lot of these encounters span across decades, continents, centuries, and there are descriptions of these type of creatures that appear in almost every culture.
Wow.
Sasquatch is typically described as being 7 to 9 feet tall, a creature that's bipedal, walks upright like a human, covered in dark fur with massive wide shoulders, and a face described as being somewhere between a human and an ape. Bigfoot footprints are typically between 14 and 22 inches long.
That is a Bigfoot.
That's like twice as long as my foot.
Yeah, at least.
And the creature is estimated to weigh somewhere between 400 and 800 pounds. This giant creature moves so quietly through the forest, most people don't know it's there until it wants them to know. Most Bigfoot encounters follow a pattern. This sequence comes up in hundreds of reports. So, police, if you decide to become an outdoor cat this summer and go camping,
Yes.
pay attention if these things happen.
Okay.
Step 1, silence. The woods go quiet and still. No insects buzzing, no birds chirping, eerie silence. That's always a bad sign.
Always. Never good.
And then people often report the feeling of being watched, and then they freeze. So it's like your body's instinctual response before your brain catches up. Some researchers believe this might be connected to infrasound, sound waves that are below the range that human ears can consciously detect. Tigers, alligators, elephants all use infrasound to communicate across distances. Some believe that if Bigfoot is an undiscovered great ape, it might have the same capability. So infrasound doesn't just scare you, it can cause nausea, disorientation, and a feeling of dread.
Oh,
I
so
thought
it's
that was
so it's like putting out the sound.
Right. And so they, animals, there are recorded things with other animals that use this sound that we can't hear, but like they can hear over distances.
Okay.
So maybe Bigfoot is using this to communicate, but it's what like puts those hairs up on your neck.
Your body can detect it, but your ears can't hear
Right.
it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And then there's other sounds that come with an encounter. Many Sasquatch encounters have the sound of wood knocking, a deliberate rhythmic banging against tree trunks.
Oh, gosh.
Some researchers believe it's communication and hypothesize that it's Bigfoot signaling to other Bigfoot.
He's like, there's s'mores over here. S'mores.
Yeah. Or maybe he's calling for reinforcements.
Ooh. Or maybe he's like, uh-oh, there's some idiots over here. Stay clear. Most likely, you know.
Yeah. These ones look like real winners. Then people report that the whoops, howls, or whistles start. People describe these sounds as completely different from any sound that they've heard with a known animal. There are entire catalogs of these calls that you can listen to at woodape.org.
Oh, woodape.
Yeah.
.org. Okay.
The interesting thing is they compare these calls to all of the known ones, like birds, forest animals, and other creatures, and none of them quite match in tone, volume, or pattern. The thing that they're most similar to are monkeys called gibbons.
Okay.
And, but those are in particular areas. They're not in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
There's no known wild gibbons in the U.S.
Right.
So that's interesting. After all the whoops and whistles come the footsteps. People start hearing heavy footsteps approaching and crashing through the brush. Many people then report experiencing the smell. So we know Skunk Ape is super smelly. Apparently his cousin Bigfoot is also a very smelly guy. Some people report that Bigfoot smells like skunk, but most say it's even worse.
Wow. That's impressive.
They describe it as a combination of wet animal, rotting garbage, and sulfur.
Delicious.
And if for some reason you're still there after all of this, you might be lucky enough to see Bigfoot. So let's talk about some of the people who have encountered our furry friend.
Okay, let's get into it.
Our first story comes from the great state of Pennsylvania in the summer of 2016. I chose this story because there are multiple witnesses with this story. 6 separate people doing their outdoorsy thing, canoeing, kayaking, camping along a half-mile stretch of the Clarion River in the Allegheny National Forest. All 6 of them reported the same thing. They described seeing a large, dark, hairy figure about 7 feet tall. It was standing upright and moving along the far side of the riverbank. It wasn't running or charging or hiding. It was just there, watching, almost like it wanted them to know that it was there. The people who reported these encounters were in the same half-mile stretch of the river during the same summer season. They're not all together.
Okay. I thought this was a group of people that were all together.
No.
Got it. Okay.
So it means that this creature was in the area repeatedly. Some of the witnesses even reported seeing Sasquatch hitting something on the ground with a rock. So it's using a tool, or something. But yeah, these are within a few days of each other, all in the same area.
Okay.
The accounts were collected by a researcher named Amy, who is the co-founder of Project ZooBook, which is a group made up of actual primatologists, zoologists, and anthropologists. So they're real life scientists.
Yeah.
And they definitely know more than we do.
Well, doesn't take much. We do our best, but...
After interviewing all 6 witnesses, Amy said all of them said that there was no way this was a hoax because they were close enough to tell that this wasn't just a prankster in a costume. So these people are close enough to tell, this is something.
Yeah.
And it seems legit, Also, the fact that they don't know each other, they're in the same space.
To me, that's the thing that sticks out because they're not corroborating their story with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
one thing if you got 6 teenagers or 6 college kids and they're like, oh yeah, I saw Bigfoot. Yep, I saw him when I was on my way to the bathroom or whatever.
Right.
But these people didn't know each other. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's our first story. A lot of people think of Sasquatch as a Pacific Northwest phenomenon. They might think of
phenomenon.
They might think of Washington, Oregon, the big giant trees, the Pennsylvania, the Appalachians, the Allegheny National Forest. Pennsylvania actually has the 3rd highest concentrations of documented and valid Bigfoot reports in the entire country.
I'm not actually surprised at all about that.
But it makes sense. The Pennsylvania woods are dense forests. There's a lot of rivers that thread through places that humans almost never go.
Yeah.
So if you were a large primate who wanted to stay hidden, maybe Pennsylvania would be a good choice.
I think so.
Definitely not as rainy as the Pacific Northwest. It's so funny because when I was in Pennsylvania, we were outside looking at some stuff and there were woods all around. And I said to Ryan, I was like, seems like just the place for Bigfoot to hide. And he was like, yep.
He's like, I think I saw him.
But then I'm like, looking, I'm like, what did I see? What just moved? What was it? I always creep myself up.
I do feel like Bigfoot sightings are rare. And so if you did get to see that, it would be really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's interesting. There's always an uptick in Bigfoot activity and sightings in the summer. So fun fact, Derry, PA, which is a small borough like 15 minutes from where I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, declared itself a Bigfoot sanctuary in 2024.
Oh, that's nice.
Borough officials said it was to recognize and honor reports of sightings that stretch from back to when the Iroquois lived there, all the way to modern sightings.
Okay. So now you have 2 completely different tribes of indigenous people too that have reported these sightings.
Yes.
At least 2.
In very different
minimum
areas. Yeah.
Ooh, that is interesting.
So as a result of this proclamation, any willful harm or capture of the Bigfoot species will be punishable by law. So we could go to Pennsylvania, see if we can find them.
Yeah, hang out with them.
Yeah, we could just, try camping. Or glamping.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the second Bigfoot story.
Okay.
This one is from the summer of 2014 in Clayoquot Sound, Vancouver Island.
Okay.
This comes from a photojournalist named Sander Jane, who's a real outdoorsman, a real outdoor cat.
Okay.
In July of 2014, Sander paddled to a remote cabin on Clayoquot Sound on the west coast of Vancouver Island that has water on one side and a steep forested mountain slope on the other.
Okay.
If you don't know Clayoquot Sound, and I didn't until this.
I don't either.
It's one of the most remote, untouched places in North America. It's the kind of wild place where you feel like no human has ever stood here before.
Okay.
You know?
Yes.
So really well-preserved wilderness. Sander called it one of the most mystical places he'd ever visited.
Oh, interesting word choice.
Yeah. The first few days there were perfect. He was alone. He was at peace. He was exactly where he wanted to be. It sounds glorious.
Yeah.
And then one night, something changed. He reported he stepped onto the porch in the evening air and everything was quiet. Then he heard a sound in the distance that sounded like rocks or big boulders were being thrown. He assumed it was just rocks sliding or maybe a bear. But then he started hearing strange animal calls that were almost owl-like.
Okay.
The thing is, one would call, and then there would be several responses from other areas of the forest.
And owls don't really do that.
Right?
Yeah.
He said the weird thing was that the silence of the forest continued, except for these calls. So that's kind of like apex predator kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So he goes inside to get ready for bed. He's brushing his teeth and then he hears another big crash, like a boulder, except this one is much closer. He's on high alert. He reported the sounds of rocks and hoots continued, but he eventually drifted off to sleep. He startled awake with his adrenaline pumping and that kind of instinctive fear that we have.
Yeah.
He said, quote, "My senses had never been more acute. I sensed that this is what mortal fear feels like."
Wow.
So why was he so scared? Because he heard something right outside the cabin. Sander described it as unlike anything he had ever heard from a known animal. He heard heavy, deliberate, stomping footsteps right outside the cabin that literally made the cabin shake. He also heard a series of loud grunts and vocalizations. Researchers who study these encounters say this specific behavior, the deliberate stomping, the close proximity, is consistent with territorial assertion.
Okay.
Almost like Bigfoot is saying, "I know you're in there.
Yikes.
I know where you are." And so this went on until finally he hears what he says were two bipedal creatures run off very quickly. The whole time, Sander stayed inside, still, petrified, with hands over his ears.
Oh.
He said that he stayed that way, absolutely still, without making noise for hours. He tried to send 17 text messages on his satellite phone for a seaplane pickup.
He's like, "Come get me right now."
So eventually morning comes, and so does the seaplane for pickup. Poor Sander is too embarrassed to say why he needed picked up. He said he heard rocks moving in the woods and was afraid of a landslide happening. Guess what the seaplane pilot said?
What?
That sounds like Sasquatch to me.
Oh.
I hear stories from people up around here who see them turning over boulders on the shoreline. When Sander was telling his friend about his encounter later, his friend said, I guess there's a reason why the First Nations call that place home of the Sasquatch.
Well, that would have been great information to have before I went and stayed out there.
Right? Thanks so much, friend.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
I know. And I read his write-up in like the journal.
Yeah.
So a lot of that's like right from his like firsthand account.
And he knew that it wasn't a bear. I mean, I feel like...
I mean, he's a nature photojournalist. Like that's what he does. He spends all of his time outdoors.
Right. So he probably knows what a grizzly bear sounds like or whatever.
I would think so, you know.
Ooh.
I know. So scared. I mean, I would be scared no matter what.
But that is crazy. Like, it's the Sasquatch capital. What's it? What was it?
Home of the Sasquatch. The First Nations people call it that.
That is crazy. That's so funny.
Right?
I mean, you'd be like, yeah, that tracks.
Thanks, Chip. Could have used that info.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Whoa, that's really scary though.
Yeah. Okay. Before we dive into the final story, I want to touch on something I know that some of you are thinking. If Bigfoot is real, why has no one found a body?
Okay.
I think that's a fair question. Here's what I would say. Animals, even large animals, are rarely found after death in the wild. Bears die constantly, but we don't find bear bodies everywhere. Think about it. There's scavengers, there's decomposition. I mean, in the wilderness, things just kind of disappear, right? You know?
Well, especially if you've been living your life in hiding, you're not going to be going and dying on the side of the road.
Right.
Where somebody's going to see your body, right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And also, you know, there are forests that are so dense and thick that we haven't even mapped them all yet. So, you know, when people are like, we should have found Bigfoot by now, but where? Forensic expert Jimmy Chilcutt analyzed Bigfoot footprint casts and said one footprint found in Washington state convinced him something real left it. Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum, a professor at Idaho State University, has made Bigfoot research a legitimate academic pursuit.
Whoa.
His team takes physical evidence, analyzes it with actual scientific methodology, and finds results that can't always be explained away. So there are real legit scientists out there researching Bigfoot, and they agree that we can't just explain this all away. And then there's the theory of Bigfoot that I love. That Bigfoot is an interdimensional being.
Yes. I told Andy that when she says being, it sounds like she says bean. She's working on it.
It's the Western Pennsylvania in me.
She's working on it, guys.
Mean.
A human being or an interdimensional being.
Me being. So this theory is that Bigfoot moves between parallel realms or alternate dimensions using portals or psychic abilities to appear, disappear, and evade detection.
Okay.
Some believe that this would account for the lack of physical evidence like bones or DNA, while others suggest that this explains why some eyewitness accounts describe Bigfoot as instantaneously vanishing.
Oh.
Just something to think about.
Popping through the portal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I tend to think, I mean, that's my guess, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, this last infamous story comes from a place that has since been named Ape Canyon as a result of this incident.
Okay.
It happened at Mount St. Helens in Washington State in July of 1924. There are 5 gold prospectors: Fred Beck, Marion Smith, Leroy Smith, Gabe Lefevre, and John Peterson, working at a place called Vander White up in a narrow gorge near the southeast side of the mountain.
Okay.
So these guys are deep in the forest, and they've built a cabin by hand. They're there to find gold, mind their own business, and probably find more gold. So they don't get to mind their own business on this particular trip. They begin noticing things. They start hearing whistling sounds every night from various directions, and then they begin hearing thumping sounds. They also reportedly found large 14-inch footprints sunk deep into the mud in the surrounding area.
Wow.
They knew something was out there. They just didn't know what. And then one morning, Fred Beck and Marion Smith head out to get water from a nearby spring. Fred sees one of the creatures clearly, standing on the edge of the canyon, watching him.
Oh, wow.
It was about 7 feet tall, covered with dark fur. They said that when the creature realized it had been spotted, it ducked behind a tree.
You always, like, that's everything that you imagine, you know, from about Bigfoot,
Right.
you know, like peeking out of a tree.
Right. So then Fred Beck made a decision that will change everything. He fired his rifle 3 times at the creature. The men see Bigfoot run off and reappear a couple 100 yards away. He shoots again, and Bigfoot again retreats. The 2 miners go back to the cabin and tell all their friends. The guys eat, they settle in, and they try to sleep with the plan of leaving the next day. And then they're startled awake by a loud thud on the side of the cabin. The cabin was hit so hard that some of the material from between the logs fell out.
Oh my gosh.
And remember, they built this cabin,
Yeah.
right? So the men reported they heard stomping from all around the cabin. They peek out through a space between the logs and see 3 large Bigfoot around the cabin. They're not just stomping around anymore. They're picking up large rocks and launching them at the cabin. And then
Shows them.
they really start attacking. One goes up on the roof and is banging and jumping on it.
Oh my
Another
gosh.
is ramming the door. And then this is the one detail, like, I can't get this picture out of my head.
Okay.
One reaches through a window. A huge hairy arm reaches in and reaches for an axe that was sitting by the wall.
Yikes.
So it's like it knew what an axe was. You know, it'd been watching, right?
Yeah.
And so this arm reaches in and one of the miners shoots at the arm. So the arm like pulls out. Okay. This continues for 5 long hours.
Oh my gosh.
Until the sun starts rising. The miners cautiously start to leave the cabin and spot one of the Bigfoot lingering about 80 yards away. Fred shoots 3 times, and one of the shots reportedly hit the Bigfoot, and he tumbled into the gorge below. Aww. The miners leave, completely abandoning their lucrative gold claim.
Interesting.
Some never returned to the mountain, and others only went back when accompanied by forest rangers. The stories ran in newspapers across Washington and Oregon. The Great Ape Hunt of 1924. Some people believed them, some people mocked them, but none of the miners ever retracted or changed their stories.
Wow. And when was that?
1924.
Okay. Nobody was going around telling stuff like that because you didn't want to be crazy. They'll put you away somewhere.
Well,
you
also,
know?
I have to think about, you know, that time. Like, if you're finding gold, and that was a big thing, right? Like, you're not telling people
Absolutely.
where you are or anything,
Yes,
and you're not
yeah.
going to leave it either.
Wait, were they actually finding gold?
Supposedly.
I mean, they were looking. Did they find it?
all of the articles I read said this was a lucrative spot.
Okay.
In 2013, nearly 90 years after that night, a researcher named Mark Mersell actually located the cabin site. Using Beck's account as a guide, cross-referencing historical maps, he found the physical location and he found artifacts. He found spent rifle cartridges right where Fred Beck said he fired from.
Whoa.
And there's one more layer to the story. Shortly after the incident was published, the Oregonian published a response from a Clellam tribe member and editor named J.W.G. Totsky. Mm-hmm. He wrote that the creatures the miners described weren't apes at all. They were the Shetik, a legendary race of wild, hairy giants from indigenous tradition.
Ooh.
Beings described as 7 to 8 feet tall, covered in hair, that are intelligent and territorial.
Mm-hmm.
Indigenous people in the Pacific Northwest had a name for these beings. They had knowledge and a tradition that existed long before 5 miners stumbled into the canyon and started shooting. Which makes me think that these stories existed long before 1924.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so every time I take a deep dive on a cryptid topic, I keep coming back to something, right? It's not, is it real? I mean, who knows, right? Mm-hmm. But what gets me is the consistency.
Yeah.
Like the consistency across time, across places, from all different corners of the world. Indigenous traditions in North America, the Himalayas, Australia, Siberia, every corner of the world that has deep wilderness has some type of story about a being like this.
Yeah.
A large bipedal being that is hairy and intelligent and lives just outside human territory.
Yes.
If these stories are just humans making things up, you'd expect there to be like wildly different stories and accounts,
Yeah.
that would maybe reflect more of the local traditions or, mythology. But the physical descriptions are always shockingly similar. The behaviors are also shockingly similar. So, 6 strangers on the Clarion River, a photojournalist on Vancouver Island, 5 miners on Mount St. Helens, all of them different places, different intentions, but all of them changed. The thing about camping, about choosing to sleep outside in a tent in the dark, is that you're choosing to be vulnerable in a way that you normally aren't.
Yes.
So maybe, just maybe, you're in someone else's space and that someone is 7 to 8 feet tall and hairy and named Bigfoot.
Yes.
So if you decide to go camping this summer, maybe camp somewhere with other people in a campground with lights and showers and room service. It's called a hotel.
Yes. That is my kind of camping.
That's the only camping I'll be doing this summer.
Me too. I think, though, I'm like putting myself in the position of these miners or whatever. Imagine we were there. God. We would not. We are such idiots. We'd be like, hey, Bigfoot. Yeah. We would not be shooting at them.
No.
That's where they went wrong also, obviously.
Because it was just watching, right?
Yeah.
But I think, it was coming closer and closer.
Yeah,
so,
it's scary.
Also, if you feel that feeling, like, a bunch of people describe, where, that sort of prey feeling.
Like primal fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think you might just react.
Yeah, I think too. That's really interesting. It makes me wonder, okay, they're just in the area. Maybe you heard some noises, but they're just in the area. But you are feeling this visceral body reaction to it. It makes me feel like maybe we are related to them in some way.
Oh.
It is some sort of unconscious communication between us and them as a species. What do you think?
That's crazy.
They're the missing link, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, man. I don't know. Can you?
Who knows?
I just can't get the picture out of my head of this hand reaching.
That is terrifying.
I
and
know.
it's like huge.
Right?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That was a good story. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. I do love a good Bigfoot story.
I also wear my Bigfoot shirt just to be on brand.
Believe in yourself, even if no one does. You know what? That is great advice.
Yeah. Words to live by.
Hey, are you ready for Somebody Told Me?
I'm ready.
This is a story that our friend told us the other day, a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard her telling the whole thing, but either way, I know our listeners are going to love to hear this. So It is about a place that we covered in one of our first episodes. So she was at Captain Tony's Saloon in Key West. And this place is very haunted and
very weird.
If you don't know all about it, you need to go back and listen to. It's probably like our third episode or something like that.
3. Yeah.
So, I mean, keep in mind, we didn't really know what we were doing in episode 3, so we might not be as sophisticated as we are now. But
you can appreciate.
It's still a great listen. Lots of good info. Anyway, so our friend was at Captain Tony's and she was just drinking, playing pool with some friends and hanging out. And as one does when they're doing that, she needed to go to the bathroom. By the way, that bathroom is haunted. Okay, so she goes into the bathroom and she chose the first stall closest to the sink. And then after she came out, she's washing her hands. She looks into the mirror and sees standing behind her a lady. And this lady's just standing there. She is wearing a dark dress with white ruffles at the neck. Obviously not from this time.
Ooh, I have chills.
The lady looked so real that Amy asked, "Do you need to go?" And the lady didn't say a word. She was just standing behind her. And then she just disappeared. Isn't that crazy? She was gone. And Amy was so, like, it freaked her out so much that she says she's not going there again.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
Whoa.
And also, she said that her husband has a story from there as well. But
no way.
I think next time we see him, we'll have to ask him about it.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
Isn't that crazy? Remember when we went to Captain Tony? We've been there a few times. We always try out the bathroom just to see if anything happens. Nothing ever happens. And I don't know that she actually knew the history of the place.
Right.
It didn't feel like that to me, that she knew that it's actually haunted by a lady in blue. That's supposedly the ghost of that place.
When did that happen?
I feel like it was recently, within a few months ago.
Oh my gosh. We should take some of our equipment and just like...
Oh, yeah. I bet the Captain Tony's people would totally rock with that.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think so. I mean, it's such a like quirky place anyway.
Yeah. I mean, they have a skeleton or whatever there.
We were there at like 11 o'clock in the morning one day for something. Like,
yeah, for something important.
But I remember there was like nobody in there. Yeah. We were like,
it could have been a Bloody Mary. I don't know. Who knows?
And it was probably for research purposes.
Yeah, we were there for research purposes. Yeah. No, I think we were going around doing a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Like last summer.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Research.
At 11 o'clock.
I love research.
Anyway, so there you have it. Captain Tony's still haunted.
Awesome. Wow, that was such a good story. Thanks, Amy, for sharing that. Hey, ghoul friends. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast.
Listeners, do you like what you hear? You can help support us by telling everyone you know about our podcast.
Also, please subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with someone who is currently planning a camping trip or a trip to Key West.
Yeah.
Ruin their summer.
We have a lot of info to ruin their summer with.
Yeah.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah, exactly. But reviews and ratings really do help us.
Absolutely. Don't forget to check out our website for You Two Scare Me merch. You could get some shirts to match us, maybe a coffee mug, or even a cute sticker. You can also find episode notes, photos, and more. And a lot of the episode notes have links to other information and things like that.
Yeah.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. Find us at Instagram at You2ScareMe_podcast or on our Facebook page, You Two Scare Me Podcast. You can follow us on our TikTok account. Just search You Two Scare Me Podcast, no spaces.
Remember to send us your own stories of encounters with Sasquatch, hauntings, ladies in the mirror like Amy did, weird things in the woods, or anything creepy for our Somebody Told Me segment at you2scaremepodcast@gmail.com. That's YOUTWO scare me podcast@gmail.com. We love to read them and we believe every single one.
Yes, we do. Thanks for wandering through the shadows with us.
Until next time, stay curious and beware what lurks beyond the light.